Hey everyone, I am back. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I hope that you've had a great week, and I hope that you've had an opportunity to really take the time to take care of yourself this past week. I know that, of course, globally, there's a lot happening. There's a lot we're seeing in the news and in media, and it can be very, very heavy. So please make sure you're taking care of yourselves. But it's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. For those of you who are brand new to Mental Health Moment, welcome. And for those of you who tune in every week, every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, welcome back. Or if you're tuning in later on, watching the replay on YouTube, welcome. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. And because there's been so much happening in the world, it seems like, I really want to talk to you all today and give you all a couple of tips about, hi, thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. But I really want to take the time to share with you some tips on if you're feeling overwhelmed, or if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling depressed, because there's a lot of different levels with everything with mental health. Hi, thanks for joining. And with everything that's happening with mental health, there's really a spectrum when we feel the way we feel. So, on one end, if you feel amazing, great, right, when it comes to your mood. But on the other end, there's clinical depression, which is severe depression, and a lot of in between. Um, and and hi, thanks for those so much who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. So again, the first thing to think about, if you are just feeling very overwhelmed, is there's a lot of different levels for thinking about how to get help. So we've talked a lot on mental health moment, and hi, thanks for those who are still starting to join here. We talked a lot on mental health moment about different resources. So of course, I'm going to share some resources with you today, but there are a lot of things that you can do at home. But then sometimes the sadness gets so overwhelming that you need the help of a mental health professional. So I'm going to try to break it down for you a little bit today to really see, it's a fine line sometimes, but to really see what you can do, and for you to start to really think about, where am I at, making sure that you're checking in with yourself. And hi, thanks for those who are starting to join here. Some people are saying happy International Women's Day. Yes, thank you for saying that. Happy International Women's Day. Awesome, awesome. No matter where you live in the world. So please thank a woman today, since it is Women's Day, International Women's Day. But really thinking about, going back to the level of sadness, or the level of being overwhelmed, and where does that fall, right? Every single one of us has mental health. All of us have our moods. Now, whether you're having a bad day, that is absolutely normal, or you're having a bad week, absolutely normal. But it's when you get to the point where you're starting to see these things over several weeks. So at the extreme end, everyone always hears, when you think about depression, not being able to get out of bed. That's one, could be one aspect of depression, but not everyone experiences depression like that. There's a lot of people, I know you've seen on social media, so I'm here to remind you, there's a lot of people that are going to work or going to school, that are functioning, that are smiling every day, and are very, very depressed, because depression looks different depending on who you are. But it's really, really important, again, that there's a lot of things to try at home. We've talked extensively, I feel like, on mental health moment over the last couple of years of how important self-care is, things you can do at home. There's a lot of different apps that you can use to focus on your breathing, focus on your mindfulness, right? And those things are very important. But when it's to the point where this sadness is so overwhelming and it's lasting for weeks and weeks at a time, that's when it could be a more serious issue. And that's really the dividing line, right? So again, having a bad day, all of us have bad days. Having a bad week definitely happens. But when the sadness, and the difficulty with doing work or functioning, frankly, is happening over a long period of time, It's really when you want to think about you, or maybe someone you know, thinking about reaching out to a mental health professional. And hi, good evening to you all who are still starting to join here. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much for that. There's like a lot of you saying that. So thank you so much for saying that. And same to you. But one of the things I want to remind you of is number one, and I put it on my Instagram today because I want to remind everyone that you deserve happiness. You deserve happiness. You can put in the chat, I deserve happiness. And the reason why I'm reminding you of that today is because there's a lot of people that I've met, a lot of people who don't feel like they deserve happiness, or don't feel like they deserve to experience joy, or maybe something happened, an action that you took in your life, and you feel like you should be punished in some way, and you feel like you don't deserve to be happy, but those things are not true. And sometimes things someone said I deserve happiness, wonderful. But sometimes you're, especially if depression is a factor, or sadness is a pressure, or grief is a factor, or whatever it is that you may be going through, your brain will tell you things that are not true. That's what depression does. It completely distorts our thinking. So your brain will tell you things like, well, because this happened, you don't deserve to be happy today, or because that happened, you don't deserve this. And that's not true. So I hope that you absolutely remember to remind yourself, and it's not an overnight. I wish I had a magic wand. I say that a lot on Mental Health Moment. I really do, man, to change a lot of things in the world. But it's not an overnight process, but it's a start for you to really own that and believe that you deserve happiness, because you absolutely do. So I really want to remind you of that, especially when you're having a tough day or having a tough week. I know for me yesterday, it was just not a good day. It was not a good day. It was a rough day. There was just a lot happening, feeling very overwhelmed. And then at the end of the day, I had some good news. So that was great and really changed my whole entire day, which helped. But again, I mean, that we're normal, we're human, and you're allowed to have bad days. It doesn't mean you don't deserve to be happy. And whatever situation that you're in right now, you deserve to receive, if you need that, mental health treatment. For example, I know there's a stigma of mental health. I know, unfortunately, in our society, that we still think that getting help means you're weak, or it means that you're crazy, or it means that you can't handle what's happening to you. Like all these things that are not true. Not true at all. It actually means quite the opposite. So I want to remind you of that today. And I'm going to give you a resource in a minute here about depression, or if you're feeling overwhelmed, or someone you know is, because it's so important to get help early. And again, whether it's a mental health professional, whether it's maybe a place of worship, whether it's a person in your life that's very supportive of you, and in whatever way that looks like for you, it's just really important to make sure that you take care of yourself and you get that help, especially when it comes to something like depression. Because the earlier you can get help, the earlier you can get treatment, the earlier you can confide in that friend, or talk to that person at your place of worship, or whomever it is for you that is going to help you through these times, the better the outcome is. And unfortunately, I hate to read it, but a lot of the research says that people normally don't get help they need for certain mental health issues, like for years. It takes years. It could take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years. I've seen all these different articles about that. And through that time, you may be suffering unnecessarily. So remember, you deserve happiness, and whatever path that is for you. All of us, all of you listening today may be on totally different paths, and that's totally okay, right? But whatever path that is for you, and what happiness and joy means for you, you deserve that. So I want to remind you of that today. And thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your Mental Health Moment. And I'm going to actually put in, let me put it in here. It's kind of long, so I'm going to put in the website for you here. It's the National Institute of Mental Health. Some of you may have heard of it. And I'm going to put the website in here too, if I can. Oh, okay. I'm going to put the website in here because what it has is some really great resources related to mental health and related specifically to depression. And let's see if I can show that on the screen here. Okay, perfect. So it's the National Institute of Mental Health, NIMH.nih.gov. If you are watching this and you're outside of the US and you need a resource related to depression, please feel free to reach me on any social media platform, or you can reach out to drnikishahammond.com. But again, as I always remind you all, I'm happy to connect you with the resources related to mental health, no matter where you live in the world. I'll do my best. I can't promise for every single country out there, but I will do my best to help you find the resources that can be helpful to you, reputable resources that can be helpful to you for mental health and wellness. But that's one of them, National Institute of Mental Health. Great information on there about depression, about what you can do at home, about different treatment options if you're looking into that. And hi, thanks for those who are starting to join here. It's Dr. Hammond here with your mental health moment. I like a lot of you are saying on here. I like that. I deserve extremely happiness. That's awesome. A lot of you are saying on that. I deserve happiness. Thanks for reminding you. Absolutely. A lot of you are saying mental health awareness is so important for many. Being on 24/7 has made me more aware of my mental health. Awesome. Yes. And that's awesome. I'm just reading some of your comments here. And a lot of you put in here, I deserve happiness. And again, it's a friendly reminder to you. The reality is, depending on where you're at in your mental health journey, and again, there's no judgment here on mental health moment, but depending on where you're at in your mental health journey, you may be at a place where you already truly can believe that for yourself, which is amazing. But you might be at a place where you're like, Dr. Hammond, I can't really strongly believe that I deserve happiness. You may be at that place, which is okay. It takes time, right? But keep reminding yourself of that, because you absolutely, positively do deserve to have happiness and joy in your life. The other thing that I wanted to mention here, yes, I will absolutely. I'm reading someone that asked about a prayer request. Absolutely, I will sure do that for you. But the other thing I wanted to mention is I had promised you all that I would tell you about. Let me change out the banner here. Okay, about where I'll be speaking this year. So again, I believe I told you all last week, but this Thursday, actually March 10th, I will be speaking with for the Families and Fathers International Conference. That is a hybrid conference. So it is in Los Angeles, California, and it's also virtual in case you're not out there or want to make the trip out there or you're not able to. So it's Families and Fathers International Conference 2022. And I'll put all the information, as I always do, in my YouTube replay. But I will be speaking on how to raise emotionally healthy children, which of course is very near and dear to my heart because I work with a lot of children. And also, for those of you who are in Florida, on Sunday, April 17th, and again, I'll put all this in the caption here, but on Sunday, April 17th, I'll be speaking in Miami at the TEDx Weston event, TEDx Talk. And that's also going to be about where I see the future of children's mental health going. So I'm really looking forward to that. So if you're in either of those two areas, please be sure, as again, I'll put it in my information in here, but please be sure to reach out. I would love to meet some of you all in person. I've been on Mental Health Moment now for a couple of years. So it's obviously been very virtual with you all on these lives, but I'm hoping to meet some of you all in person, of course, as I speak to different communities this year. And someone says, I don't travel, but would love to. So yeah, so some of these events this year are going to be virtual. Some of them are in person. So either way, I would love to have you there. Someone says self-care is key. Absolutely. When am I going to be in South Carolina area? Great question. You know what? Actually, if you follow me on Facebook, Dr. Nikisha Hammond on Facebook, for that person that asked about that, check the calendar. I'll be doing my best to update the events on there because I'm not quite sure yeah, check the calendar on there. I'm not quite sure offhand what my schedule is month to month, but we'll definitely put the events in there, and hopefully I will be in that area soon. Um, yeah, someone said keep smiling. That helps people. Keep smiling. That helps people with depression. For some people, yes, it does. Let's see here. Someone says I find that in the African American community, we are brought to think that many types of mental health illness can be healed through prayer, and that if any treatments were sought, we lack faith in God, which some of us still hold on to those beliefs. Yes, very true. Unfortunately, that is one of the largest myths in the for some people in the African American community is this belief that if you receive, like you mentioned, treatment, if you receive therapy, if you receive medication or any type of treatment, it means that you don't love God or you don't love Jesus. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. You can have your whomever you worship, Jesus, God, or whomever else. You can have religion and receive mental health treatment. It is, yes, they go, they can go hand in hand. And what's really cool is there's a lot of mental health professionals that even specialize in Christian counseling or specialize with different religions or are very spiritual based if that's a type of mental health counselor that you're looking for. So there's a ton of different options. I know what you see because I've watched it too. I know what you see on TV and what you see in the media and on movies, which makes me cringe sometimes because not everything you see on there related to mental health is true. The whole couch, the stereotypical, let's tell me about everything about your childhood. That's not all what therapy is. There's a lot of different options depending on what you need. There's so much out there, especially right now. We're in 2022. We have a ton of different options. There's virtual, I mean, there's a telehealth. You can sit at home in your pajamas, right? I mean, years and years ago, we didn't even have that option. So there's that. There's all sorts of different therapy depending on what your needs are. And again, if you all have any questions related to that, I'm more than happy to try to connect you to the appropriate resources wherever you live or answer any questions related to that. But I'm glad you brought that up because unfortunately, that belief system has actually caused a lot of unnecessary heartache, pain, and suffering that didn't need to happen. There's so much that can be prevented with mental health treatment. So much. There's so much that can be prevented when you take care of yourself. There's so much that can be prevented when you utilize mindfulness and when you do things at home to better yourself and be the best version of you. There's so much that you can prevent. There's so much heartache that you can prevent. So, which is one of my main motivations for being here with you all every week on Mental Health Moment, to make sure that you are working on being the best version of you, whatever that looks like, and whatever your goal is. But there's just there's so much. There's so much that you can do to better yourself. But thank you for bringing that up, that comment up. And hi, thanks for joining, colleague from Awesome. Thank you. Have a blessed night as well to you. Together we will stand tall. Divided we will fall. As a nation, we Black people need to do better together. And there's there's really a lot of there's a long history. This is a whole nother mental health moment. But there's a lot of history related to mistrust for mental health professionals. I can go on and on. There's a lot of different barriers, unfortunately, right now when it comes to the Black community, when it comes to Black and Brown communities, when it comes to mental health. So there is a reason that this is happening, but hopefully we're moving forward as a mental health profession in the right direction, and we're working on reducing the stigma of mental health so that, again, more people can receive the opportunity to have more joy and to receive the opportunity to learn the steps to make sure that they live happy lives, which we all deserve. Remember, that's my theme for today. You deserve happiness because you do. Why do we care more about what people think versus how we feel? I trust me feeling and to seek help if I need it. This God you speak of gives you wisdom to seek help. Yes. Yeah, another whole mental health moment. But really, it is true. we're social beings, so it's very normal for us to really care more than we probably should about what other people think or what other people say or what is happening on social media or what's happening in our lives or friends and families. That's very normal. But again, to your point, and it's a journey. It really is a journey. But for you to work on, for all of us to work on taking the time to listen to that inner voice, is really going to be really important in connecting. If again, if it's Jesus, for God, or whatever higher power that you may or may not believe in, taking that spiritual path as well, if that applies to your life, is going to be really, really important. Again, when we're talking about today, how to deal with being overwhelmed, how to deal with depression, and some of the things that you can do. Someone said, trust yourself even when you're unsure. Yes, I'm a huge advocate. Trust your instinct, because most of the time you are right. Someone said, it's a gradual movement towards obtaining mental health within the African American community due to the fact that just last year we were able to see mental health experts that look like us and aren't afraid to say publicly, I'm not okay today, and that's okay. Yes, there's a huge lack of Black and brown professionals, frankly, in the mental health field. It has been very hard with the pandemic and the opening up of the idea of telehealth more than what has happened. Yes, is that for individuals that wanted, specifically said, I want a Black mental health professional, or I want, whomever they wanted, that maybe were like of a diverse background, that was a little bit more accessible because of the pandemic and being able to have the virtual sessions, for example. But there's still a huge major lack of professionals of a lot of different ethnic backgrounds in the field right now in the United States, at least. With the current administration in power, they are working on a lot of different provisions to help with that mental health disparity that's happening with different providers. So we will see what's happening, but thanks for bringing that up as well. So there's a lot happening politically to make some changes, hopefully. So we'll see what happens coming up here. And thank you so much. Blessings to you as well. Someone said, I don't care what other people think as long as I have God in my life and my kids are good. But yes, also definitely a journey. But as I wrap up here, I do want to remind you that it's so important, again, that you are taking care of yourself, that you are reminding yourself on a daily basis how much you deserve to be happy, how much you really think about whatever's happening in your life. Like, is this good for your mental health? And constantly to be assessing that for you, because only really you can answer that question. And really thinking hard about that, because that's going to be something that's going to guide a lot of your decisions. And again, as I mentioned, there's so much that you can prevent, so much heartache, so much pain, that's very preventable when we take the certain steps, when we get the help that we need, when we're doing the self-care, when we're doing the things at home, to really prevent, again, a bad day or a bad week is okay. But when we start to get into depression, making sure that we're doing things to prevent those type of things that maybe allow us to spiral downward. But if you need anything, again, please feel free. You can always reach out to drnikishahammond.com, or you can always send me a direct message on social media, on any social media platform that you may be on. And I will be back next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Black Women Empowered Incorporated Facebook page and YouTube Live and LinkedIn Live. So have a great week. Be sure to check out some of the resources that I talked to you about. And again, I'll put where I'm speaking next in the caption of the YouTube replay, and have a great week. So take care. Be well. I'll see you all next time. Bye, y'all.